Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. Corey, a lot going on here in the summer sports scene for amateur baseball. We talked about that show on Monday, but now we're just kind of like in that little wait and see period, where amateur baseball is kind of doing its own thing, but they're starting to wrap up. Meanwhile, high school sports are around the corner, and there's that weird kind of 2-week spot that we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that, I don't know, lull isn't the right word, but we're now kind of in, when you look at professional sports even too, right? Like the dog days of a baseball summer are among us. You're just trying to ride it out and for some teams, weather the storm and get to late August, get to September where things really start to ramp up again. For other teams, like you hope the Twins, like this is a time where they just kind of quietly and sneakily start to play a little better baseball, but still we're waiting for September to get here for those sorts of things. The WNBA is in this, like they're after their post All-Star break too. And even though the WNBA is doing things better than they ever have as far as national attention and things like that, like it still is just like, okay, when are the playoffs here? When are we going to get to that portion of the season? And NFL training camps are ramping up, but for teams that are where there's just not a lot of controversy, and thank goodness we're a fan of a team that just doesn't have a lot of controversy surrounding it. Like even the start of training camp feels like, okay, yeah, we're at that time of year. This is exciting. It's fun to get to that time of year where the new season is upon us. But also there's like, there's not even a controversy going on with like who's going to be the quarterback or whatever. There's just literally one thing with the Vikings, which I know, we can talk about a little bit later, but it's just a weird time of year. These like last few weeks of July and the first couple of weeks of August, where it just kind of goes on let's just enjoy summer vacation for 4 more weeks before it gets crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the peak time of year for Corey Tackman's golf game.
Wouldn't that be nice? Not today.
No, not today. Not this week. Not at all. It's just been a mess out there. But you know where it's nice and dry, Corey? The Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
It's Wednesday, but that doesn't mean we can't look back to Tuesday, where, of course, a reminder, kids eat free at Pizza Ranch in Wadena and the FunZone Arcade. One kiddo, 10 and under, eats free at the buffet per full-priced paying adult. And look how good that chicken looks. Don't forget to check out the FunZone Arcade while you're there. And let me promise you, if you have kids, you can't do the Pizza Ranch and not do the FunZone Arcade on top of it. Bringing smiles on a day when you don't want to go cook. Let the Pizza Ranch make you a little supper this evening. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena, and a part of the Morning Sports Desk here each and every single day.
Yeah, we got plans to go to the old Pizza Ranch tonight, so that's on the agenda. So I am excited, very excited to get to go there. Might have to sneak in the FunZone Arcade a little bit too.
Are you gonna do one slice of stuffed crust pizza in honor of me while you're there?
I could if that's available. Yeah.
Okay, thank you in advance.
I could request it and buffet my way or Corey's way, I guess, by requesting that.
You know what? Let's just put that out there right now. If you're going to the Pizza Ranch, don't say I don't want to buffet my way. I'm going to buffet Corey's way. I'm going to buffet the Morning Sports Desk way. Special order of stuffed crust pepperoni pizza, please.
Yes, and please just bring a tub of mashed potatoes. That'd be it.
Not a large bucket, a literal bathtub of mashed potatoes.
A tub. And then can I get a 1-gallon drum of Powerade, please? Thank you. We're all set. I'll be okay. I don't need to get up anymore. I'm just going to waddle over to the FunZone Arcade after this.
Wheelbarrow me out of here.
Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Can't beat it. All right, Corey, you know who else can't be beat? Talked about this on Monday's show, but I need to get your thoughts. Did you see Gage Bierga of Staples-Motley, national champion?
National champ, baby. That's good.
32-pound weight class.
Yeah, that's pretty decent, isn't it?
I mean, it's
to be a national champion, to be
the
entire nation at something.
I mean, that's insane. And by the way, friend of the morning sports desk.
Yeah, shout out Gage. You're welcome anytime, buddy.
Welcome back on.
Is there anything that you think you are top 10 in the nation in?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, I've seen questions along these lines of like, do you think in the entire world that you might actually be like a top 5% baseball player?
Yeah, I know we've had that conversation on the show before.
Yeah. Like, are you a top 10% basketball player? And considering the amount of people who don't play basketball, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's maybe possible.
It's a lot closer than you think.
Do you think there's anything in the country that you are like top 10 in?
Oh,
anything. It could be something like, I have a buddy of mine who is like, he's convinced he's 1% of the 1% of sunflower seed consumers.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, there's no way of ever knowing, but he's just convinced.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, do you poop 6 times a day? Or are you you know what I like? What is there something ridiculous? Because I don't think I am. I don't think I'm top 10, like maybe not even top 10%, let alone top 10.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like top 10 itself is a whole thing. Top 10%, I'm definitely in, like, if we're talking about food consumption or just consumption, I'm definitely in the top 10% of brisk lemon iced tea enjoyers. I drink that all the time. So
okay, that's awesome. I'm thrilled you have an answer to that.
If we're going with that, if that's the lane we want to go down, that can be easy. That's like if I'm not going to get pop at a place, if I'm like at the gas station, I just need to get like, and we're on a long car ride and you just need something to kind of drink for the ride. That's definitely what I'm picking. Back when they used to be in those big liter bottles for 99 cents.
Yeah.
You just buy them all the time.
You're not Joey Chestnut, but you're on the podium every single year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. What, do you have anything? What do you think is the closest thing you could consider to be like out of all the things, even if you don't think you're the top percent in it, what skill or what trait do you possess that would get you the best chance to be there?
I've always been a really good sleeper, so it might be like hours slept. You know, you got to keep that within a correct age category.
Yes.
Like I just won't have slept as someone as much as someone who's 50.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe that. I really do enjoy chocolate milk. I've had a lot of chocolate milk in my life. Like maybe that's right up there. Yeah, I don't know. Because most everything that I enjoy is like fairly societal. You know what I mean? Like I don't have anything where it's like you're super weird about this thing you like and borderline obsessive. I don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of like what everyone else likes. I probably drink more chocolate milk than the average adult does or should.
I mean, you definitely drink more than the average adult, I'm sure. And that's the thing. If we're going off by total like ounces consumed, you got most of the kids beat because they just can't consume that much.
Correct. Yeah. No, I think that's probably it's probably a chocolate milk consumption and total number of minutes slept.
Yeah. See, if I were
let's say like up to age 40.
Yeah. See, if I were to do like just a non-food thing, it probably would be what I think I'm top 10%. I'm changing the rules a little bit here. Top 10% in the country, probably playing NCAA football. That's like a pretty, like the video game.
Oh, yeah.
I play a lot of that. And especially if we're going to go to the last version. I know they came out with the new ones this year and last year, but like the one before they went on their like decade-long hiatus, NCAA 14 for the Xbox 360, I have logged in thousands of hours on that thing.
Yeah, no, that's and really you're just coming down to like most of the country doesn't play video games.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're probably right in the mix. That's fair.
Exactly. I'm not good at 2K, not Madden. I can't do MLB The Show outside of doing my own road to the show. I'm not going to go online and play. But if I were to go online and play in NCAA 14, I feel like I could hold my own against the other 89, 90% of the country.
I thought you were going to say 89 to 90 people who play the game.
Well, who still are playing the game, yes.
Yeah. Fair.
Because it's on a console now that is one whole generation outdated already. But yes, there we go. All right, perfect. How about steer wrestling? Do you think you're the top 10% in that?
No,
not even close.
Close. Like so much closer to the bottom 10% than the upper 10%. I might be the worst in the country at this.
I rode a mechanical bull once in the 2018-ish. We were out in what?
Did your top fall down while you did it too?
No, unfortunately. No, or fortunately, depending on who you ask. No, we were at Cheyenne Frontier Days in Wyoming.
Heck yeah.
And there was not much going on there. It's about a county fair vibe. And there's a mechanical bull. And I was like, I got to just try it, right? I can tell you how quick it flung me off. Where it's like, oh, never mind. When somebody hangs on, like when somebody just gets through the first 2 seconds out of the gate, that's actually they're really, really good.
There's a reason they set the time for only 8 seconds.
Right, exactly. There's a reason why when Tim McGraw goes on Fu Manchu over there, that it's a pretty big deal.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So why did you even bring this up in the first place, CJ?
Well, as again mentioned in the show on Monday, Orrin Hart of Parkers Prairie fame, is 5th in the world in steer wrestling in Rock Springs, Wyoming, in the National High School Finals of Rodeo. Crazy. He's top 5. Gage Bierg is top in the country. Look at our local area doing stuff.
Mitch Bartle finished 4th in the International Auctioneers competition at Calgary.
Auctioneer in North America.
We've got world-bound leaders amongst us.
Think about that. Just think about this area you're in. So when people say you're in God's country, it's kind of true. Look at what he's blessed us with.
Exactly right.
Look at that. But seriously though, it's really cool to see all these kids get to do this and get this recognition and get this stuff. It's just really fascinating, and especially in something like steer wrestling, which is not easy. Again, I know bull riding is maybe a little different. I know there's some different things involved. I'm sure I'm missing something here, but it's still just really cool to get to see that happen and get to see those kids do that and do all that stuff. And this is the perfect time of year to be able to highlight some of this other stuff that's going on and kind of let them get the spotlight. So it's really, really cool. We break it down in Monday's show. Go back and listen to that kind of for the full breakdown and amateur baseball breakdown and things like that. But in terms of local sports news that we haven't talked about yet, Corey, according to the Park Rapids Area Schools Facebook page, former teacher at the school, Bob Kapsner, was inducted into the Minnesota Babe Ruth Baseball Hall of Fame during the age 13 to 15 state championship game that took place in Henning on Sunday. How cool is that?
It's super cool. And I don't know Bob, and I don't know all of the years that and dedication and whatever, but here's what I do know. I do know that you don't get recognized for something like this by accident or as a favor. Yeah. You get recognized for something like this because you put in a ton of hours without any recognition, without any sort of acknowledgement ever. And then all of a sudden one day, and it's not the reason he did it, all of a sudden one day you get recognized like this, and those efforts that you put in, actually you realize were recognized by people and noticed by other people. So just thrilled for Bob. I don't know Bob at all. And still I'm thrilled for that guy, because you know that he put in some time to make this sort of thing happen for the kids over the years.
Yeah. And I'm sure I got a fact wrong here or two along the way, but I always think of Babe Ruth and Babe Ruth playoffs in Park Rapids. Like, they were always willing to host, always willing to do stuff there. In my time, like in my brother's times in Babe Ruth baseball and things like that, Park Rapids was like where everything was happening. They were hosting, they were getting stuff ready, they were putting stuff out for people. Like, they wanted to host and do all that stuff, and that's not easy. And their facilities were great. They always were great hosting that. They did a phenomenal job with that, and still do in the stuff that they want to set out for. So it's really cool to see him and get this accomplishment. And also, by the way, the State Babe Ruth Championships happening in Henning is really cool as well for this area getting to host it. When I played Babe Ruth, we had the luxury of making the state tournament 2 different times. In 2012, we were in Fergus Falls over at D Lagoon Park, which is a really nice setting as well. And then in 2013, we were all the way up in East Grand Forks. So they like to go around the state with this thing, and it's really cool to see this area once again have the field space, have the people in place who want to do it, and set up a good opportunity for the kids. And Parkers Prairie also competing in that championship game. So there you go.
Way to go. Congrats, Bob.
Local sports highlights all the way. Once again, Central Minnesota being active in that sports scene. Really, really, just really fun to see. It's really awesome to give them that shout out. So, all right, Corey, this is a new bit we are doing. We've talked about this for a while, and just kind of like a half-baked idea that we slowly let cook and cook and cook. And I think today is the day where we unveil it and kind of get it, just get the first one out there and build on it from there. So, Corey, this is a segment that we are calling Needs to Be Said. And basically, there's just a lot of things that, sports talk, sports media, it happens all the time. People say things to say things, and they do things and whatever. And a lot of times stuff doesn't come true, or some things are media creations and whatnot. But there is some stuff that, whether they're true or not, just kind of like need to be put out there, right?
Yeah. Yes. You set that up perfectly. There are topics that maybe some people don't want to talk about, or maybe aren't even true, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there. It doesn't mean
it's not sitting in the back of your head.
It doesn't mean it's not a real conversation. It doesn't mean it's going to be true. Doesn't even mean it's like necessarily, it's not like by nature positive or negative. It's just that sometimes people avoid certain conversations for whatever reason. And we need to acknowledge that those conversations exist.
Exactly. So, Corey, why don't you do the first one? Don't really have like a jingle or like a bump or anything like that, but I'll just needs to be said, needs to be said, needs to be said, needs to be said.
How many of these are we going to do?
Well, I think we could probably just go one each, and if we got more, we could go from there. But I just got one.
All right. I'll give you 2.
Okay.
I'll go first here. It's starting to come up in conversation a little more, and it's a guy that I think that I still trust in and believe in, when in the classic sense of like, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. If there's a big spot for this organization in the future, in this season, when they need somebody to come through for them, I would trust this guy still to get it done. But we need to start having the conversation about how bad Carlos Correa is. He's not hitting the ball. He's not fielding the ball. I know he almost hit a game-tying home run, but we're talking about a historically good baseball player that's going to have moments. You know what I mean?
Right. Like he hit a double yesterday and reached base 3 times, scored a couple. Like, he had a good game yesterday.
He's going to have moments. But he's like, defensively, what he's not doing, it's things like, it's not that he's committing errors, right, CJ? It's like,
I mean, he kind of is this year. He has 9 errors already. His career is 11.
But
in a
the
season.
point is, that's not the point. The point is like balls that he was getting to, he's not getting to anymore. Remember Luis Castillo, the second baseman who like set a record for most games without an error? It was insane. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've made the opposite argument for when people were out on Luis Castillo. I was like, well, don't you want a guy who's going to field it every time he can get to it? I don't care that he can't get to everything. I need him to not screw up the balls that he gets to. So it's kind of an opposite argument. But like, Correa's not exactly getting to balls at the same rate. Like you mentioned, errors are a little up. He's also not hitting. This has been I don't know how long Carlos Correa is going to be with the Twins. We've joked about this by default. He's the best shortstop in Washington Senators, Minnesota Twins history. That still is the case. But his Minnesota Twins career right now is mostly injuries or play that we're not quite happy with.
Right. And
this all-star, he was awesome. He had unbelievable moments in the playoffs. It's been a not great for sure year. I don't want to even pigeonhole an entire Minnesota Twins career. That's not fair. This has not been good this year.
No, when you talk about range, it's outs above average, which is what StatCast uses, kind of an all-encompassing defensive metric. It's not perfect, but it factors in your range as a fielder. Last year, Carlos Correa was a +4. This year, he is a 0. So, for context, in 23, he was -1. He had to deal with plantar fasciitis. In 2022, he was -3. In 2021 with Houston, he was +11. He was +11 as well in 2019. And in 2018, he was a +20. So, yeah.
And the reason why this conversation is relevant, CJ, is by all accounts, he's not injured this year, correct?
No, he's been pretty healthy.
So this is the stuff where it's like he's had these numbers before where he played through injury, not injured. And those numbers are equivalent to when he was injured. That's where some of this problem starts to that doesn't mean this is true, but there are signs in an equation that lead to, is Carlos Correa your third baseman going forward? Do you move him over to first at 6'3" or whatever? You know what I mean? Like there's some conversations that are going to exist about Carlos Correa that nobody's willing to have yet because we like him.
Yeah. I mean, and he had a brutal first 6 weeks of the season, absolutely brutal. Came back from the concussion list after colliding into Buxton, and for the most part has been okay and fairly better. But I mean, you got to put the whole season into context here. He has a weighted runs created plus of 99. The league average is 100. So a month or two ago, it was pretty well below that 99 number. So he's clawing back to becoming at least just a league average player, above average player. But that gets to the point of the argument. Carlos Correa is meant, when the Twins are factoring in how good they're going to be at the beginning of the year, they are expecting well above league average production throughout the whole season from Carlos Correa, relatively speaking. It's not, when you're not expecting your $30 million player to be well, yeah, he's going to be a 65 weighted runs created plus, or he's going to produce, he's going to hit 150 with a 600 OPS in the first third of the season. But after that, he's going to be pretty good. That's just not. So yeah, it needs to be said. And whether, you could piggyback off that and go, it needs to be said, do the Twins trade Carlos Correa? Do the in the offseason, do the Twins overhaul that contract? Now, Correa has a no trade clause, but Buxton has made it very clear, I'm not leaving Minnesota. I am not going to exercise my no trade clause at any point. I want to remain a Twin for my career. And not that Carlos Correa said he wants out, but Correa is a guy that he wants to win and he wants to be on good teams. And if he's this just isn't working out, and if a team with a better kind of trajectory comes along and wants to trade for him, he'd be more willing, I think, to say, okay, fine, it's been real, but I'm going to leave, more than a Buxton would.
So once again, we need to tack on the disclaimer here. I don't want the Twins to trade Carlos Correa.
No, I want Correa to be here for him.
The order, I trust him. The disclaimer is that this conversation exists around him and nobody's having it yet. And it needs to this needs to be a consideration when talking about Carlos Correa, and it's not quite yet. So what do you think? What's your conversation? A thing that you don't necessarily believe, but exists.
I want to save mine I got a Viking-centric one. Do you have a Viking-centric one for your second one?
I do.
Okay, good. Okay. So this will kind of tie into Vikings training camp is open this week. Rookies reported on Monday, and they held a press conference yesterday. Kevin O'Connell and Quaisito Fomensa, just kind of the opening. Hey, we're welcome back, everybody. Here we go. What do you want to talk about before practices start? Here's who's blah blah so and so. Anyway, all that stuff is happening. So we'll talk a little bit more about that outside of this segment once we get done with this. But here is my thing. It needs to be said. I don't believe it. Or at least I don't want to believe it. But it needs to be said that what if JJ McCarthy just is bad? Like, what if he just is bad? Not like, and again, all the hype coming out of him, and I'm in on it, that guy acts like a pro. He like has a demeanor of like a starting quarter. He understands the job. Like, he understands what he needs to do, what's expected of him. He's put in the work. He's passed every test that the Vikings have given him so far, except for being on the field in a regular season game. Outside of 2 quarters of preseason football, against the Raiders, we don't really have a big, clear picture on how good JJ McCarthy could be, what his ceiling could be. We know he's got pieces around him, but what if he can't do it at all? Like, what if he is a Zach Wilson, who that was a nice Jets roster that he couldn't even win 5 games with. Mm-hmm. Like, what if McCarthy is that bad? This is a Vikings team that I think if you asked JJ McCarthy to leave the room and you asked all other 90 guys on the roster, be like, hey boys, Super Bowl or bust. Like, this is it. This is a Super Bowl contending roster. And what if JJ McCarthy just isn't good enough? Because that is a couple different ramifications. Not only like did Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah pick the wrong quarterback, but also now you got to bring in, there is no Aaron Rodgers anymore to like 2 weeks into training camp to go, maybe we'll just bring the vet in and let him, and whatever. There is nobody to go get. And you'd have to waste a whole season of Justin Jefferson's prime. And then where do you go again? Do you redraft? Do you get a veteran? The veteran's going to cost money. You've kind of structured your cap around a rookie quarterback contract. So there's some ramifications of that, but basically it needs to be said, because I think everybody assumes JJ McCarthy is going to pick up where Darnold left off and the Vikings are going to win 14 games again. And they're going to like, what if he's not good? And what if the Vikings win like 7 or 8 games this year?
So you'll be happy to know that this was my second thing.
Okay, good.
I'm thrilled you picked this one. Let's go. This is
I want to believe in McCarthy so bad. Like,
it's very unscientific, but let's do this together. All right. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks that's really matter that were drafted in the 2024 draft.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do this. We'll do a thumbs up for good, thumbs down for bad, or give like a little wavy in the middle if the jury is still out on this. Okay. So drafted first overall was Caleb Williams. Are we going thumbs up, thumbs down, or somewhere in the middle? I would argue
somewhere in the middle.
It probably trends up, but it's somewhere. It's in the middle.
Got all the talent in the world, but there was enough red flags last year that made me went, oh, that could get weird.
Okay, so, but that is more like it probably leans a little.
He's a little more up. I mean, they were a mess last year and they still won like 7 games. So
yes. So okay, Jaden Daniels
up. Can't. Yeah.
Drake May. Probably like I would
bad team last year, but he like showed everything he needed to show. Yeah.
Okay. The guy who took over for Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, Michael Penix.
I mean, it's a small sample size, so I can't go fully up, but I think he's going to be good. I was very high on Penix in that draft class. He would have been like, if I would have gotten the realistic options, out of McCarthy, Penix, I would have chosen Penix. So like, now, I'm very high on his ability.
And by the way, Daniels was second, May was picked third, Penix was picked 8th. Bo Nix was picked 12th. Now, I'm doing my best to put aside my sports loathing for Sean Payton and just Denver fans in general. But Bo Nix, what do we think about Bo Nix? Like, kind of okay.
Okay.
So we didn't give a thumb. My point is we didn't give a thumbs down to anyone. Everybody in there was at least a 50% or probably better. Like, we're giving the benefit of the doubt still to Caleb Williams and to Michael Penix and to Bo Nix, right?
Yeah.
This is the numbers game of first-round quarterbacks being good. It's like 40% of them turn into guys who can start. Like, right. Base level, be Ryan Tannehill.
Low-end starters, high-end backups kind of thing.
Right? It's like only 40%. Now when you put in JJ McCarthy into a group of 6 who have all shown immediate success, the odds are that JJ McCarthy's the bad one.
Right. Like, there rarely is a time where every quarterback in a draft is really good. Maybe the 2020 draft class where it had like Burrow and Tua and Herbert.
And you go back to like I think Donovan McNabb and Dante Culpepper and like some of those guys were all taken in the same draft class. Like there's
you go way back to like the 84 draft with Elway and Marino and all that, but there were still a couple stinkers in there.
Yes, totally. So there's pockets, and maybe this is one of them. But even if this is one of them, 5 of the 6 have already shown they're at least competent.
Right. and it all depends on expectation, right? Like are we expecting JJ McCarthy to come in and be like, hey, you need to be a high-end starting quarterback in the NFL, and you need to be Patrick Mahomes? Like, realistically, no one is expecting JJ McCarthy to come in and be Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, like one of those quarterbacks where it's like, you're just going to be in the mix every single year because you play quarterback for this football team. Like, realistically, I think if everybody was honest, like, I think Brock Purdy is kind of like the prototype. Maybe Jalen Hurts, but they're just kind of different quarterbacks in what they do. But like, I think Brock Purdy, again, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but I think Brock Purdy is kind of can you just be that? Can you just make a play or two and run the offense? That I'm not even saying that. I'm not saying what if only McCarthy does that? Because if he does that, the Vikings are winning 10, 11 games this year. Like, what if he's just like Zach Wilson? Like that, and that's the thing you're talking about. Like, there's a chance that he could be Zach Wilson in that way.
There's no evidence that the Zach Wilson of this quarterback class exists yet.
Right.
That part is just scary. Now, I'm excited. Again, now we disclaimer this. We're excited about JJ. We believe in JJ. We believe in the infrastructure around him, including his coach and now his offensive line and the running back by committee, and obviously the wide receiver group. Field Yates just called his defensive front 7, the Vikings, the best front 7 in all of football. Like, there are some things that are absolutely trending in the right direction for this program. And like you said, if JJ McCarthy is just okay in what is essentially his rookie year, the Vikings are going to win some games. If he's better than that, the Vikings are contending. To me, the answer is the comparison is Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson was always inaccurate, but he was athletic. He was a playmaker. And when it mattered most, he made plays, right? Yep. That's kind of the story on him in Seattle. Can JJ be those things? Yeah, sure. Let's hope so. But the conversation exists that everybody else in his draft class is already at least okay. And it never works out that everybody from the draft class is okay.
Right. There's just always going to be somebody.
He's going to be a fascinating watch and is the only relevant conversation for Vikings football over the next season, barring definitely somebody getting a catastrophic injury probably tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. It was practice number 2 of training camp where Mekhi Blackmon tore his ACL, Vikings corner, and then like a week or two later, they're like, we need to go get Stephon Gilmore. And which worked for them, but
yesterday was full report. So today is I guess like
it's like a walkthrough.
Yeah, tomorrow's like the second day of practice.
Yeah. So be prepared. All right. There we go. And again, with the JJ McCarthy and the draft class stuff, and it's always important to know, again, we are not saying we believe it, but it needs to be said. It's a very good point about that draft. The other thing is, and the thing that Vikings fans can cling to is, even though those stats exist, you can't always take it from the large group statistic to the individual. And that's where the Vikings fans are open.
And you made a great point. I know we should just be done. I know that. But like, you made a great point about like number of games. All of these other guys have played games. We haven't seen JJ play games yet, but that is not just professionally either.
Right.
Like, JJ didn't play that many collegiate games.
Right.
Jaden Daniels had played like 60 college games.
Michael Penix
played a ton. Like, they have parts of Bo Nix played 1,000 games. I mean, he's 30 years old. Some of the reasons why those guys showed success early is because they're just a little older and a little more mature, and like they've just played
their bodies a little more, and
they've just seen a little more.
I mean, JJ McCarthy's still 22.
The conversation about JJ McCarthy also isn't, this doesn't mean necessarily that he's going to be a bust all time. It just means everything is lining up for the Vikings, and Vikings fans we always get our hopes up and we always get excited and we always think, well, if JJ McCarthy could just be like a little above average, this is a team that could win the Super Bowl, which is true, but he might not be yet. He might not be that. It might be 3 years, and that needs to be okay. It's just going to be frustrating around Halloween.
Right. And by the way, he will have a ton of frustrating moments. Like, he's still learning how. There are going to be some interceptions where you go, oh boy, he did not read the field right on that one, or he did not, whatever. And that's, the Vikings have the infrastructure around and everything. And it's why we talk about JJ McCarthy. The infrastructure is there. His mindset, I think, is correct. And everything I've read and heard about him, he's approaching this thing the way he needs to. He was meeting with Kevin O'Connell last year. He was meeting with defensive players, like, hey, how do you do stuff so I can kind of pick your brain and see how I can beat you. And I think the veterans like Harrison Phillips compared the way he came across to people, the way Josh Allen did in his rookie year, just his demeanor and how, hey, I'm the starting quarterback. Here's how I need to act in the building. And he's like, it reminds me a lot of what Josh Allen did early on and things like that. And so I think he's won over the locker room. I think that's the only thing about McCarthy is just, can he actually play football? Everything else he's good. Everything else he's fine. At least is what is needed.
And as other people have said, this is not a unique idea. We will know very soon if he can or cannot play football.
Right.
That doesn't mean he won't make mistakes, but we'll know very early on if this guy has it or doesn't, because everything else around him is pretty much exactly what you could ask for.
Outside of a catastrophic injury like this, it's set up to be really good. Now, again, like we said, JJ McCarthy's 22. Is there still his arm? People talked about, does he throw the ball can he throw the ball that hard or deep? He can. He just never was asked to do it at Michigan because they didn't need to. But the arm strength concerns in his draft thing have been disproven by people who have watched practices. He's got a live arm. He's good. He's done a couple things even last year before he got hurt. They saw development, the way he layered the football. I'm not saying it was great, but
4 times you could see he had an arm.
Right.
Arm strength was not a problem. Even on the play he got injured, you're like, okay, that guy can zip it.
Yep. And it's layering. It's kind of touch. It's things like that. It's reading a defense. It'll be whatever. So anyway, that all being said, because this is the number one thing of training camp, but there are still a couple other things, Corey, as we wrap up the show here for today, and then we can get out of here. Kind of what other question, is there anything else that concerns you? I know McCarthy is the big piece, but there's got to be something where you look at and you go, this, they're kind of relying on this, and I don't know if they can do it, or, I kind of wish they would have addressed this more. For me, it's the secondary. There's just a lot of question marks, specifically, you're bringing Byron Murphy back, and that's good, but did Byron Murphy have a career year? Are they a little too high on Byron Murphy? And Theo Jackson, is the safety who's going to replace Cam Bynum. Cam Bynum was a nice safety to complement Harrison Smith, and those two worked really well together. Are we sure it's going to be the exact same? And outside of that, outside of Byron Murphy, Mekhi Blackman, Isaiah Rodgers are talented, but the question marks are still there. We just haven't seen a lot out of Blackman. And for Rodgers, again, he's just kind of bounced around a little bit. So there's just not a lot of definitive answers, whereas the front seven, like we said, is loaded. The back four still kind of remains to be seen a little bit.
Harrison's a Hall of Famer, and he's going to be a Ring of Honor guy, and he's going to get every accolade at the end of his career that he should. He's awesome. He's 1,000 years old. So that's a big part of this. No, the conversation is the same this year about the Vikings as it was a year ago. Can the quarterback do it? And can the defensive backfield do it? Now, there's a couple ways to get around the defensive backfield, right? And that is to make your defensive backfield awesome. That's one way to do it. That's one way to play pass defense, is to make your defensive backfield amazing. The other way to do it is to try to bail them out as often and as possible as you can with great front seven play.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, the front seven of this Minnesota Vikings defense should be quite good.
Yeah.
So that will help. That does the deficiencies that the defensive backfield has should be made up for in the fact that they're only gonna have to cover for like 2.5 seconds.
And the coverage is just different, right? It's not a decade ago where Xavier Rhodes is like, he's going to go find Julio Jones and they're just going to go at it every game. The way NFL teams use motions and the way they do things like that, they try and do everything they can to make sure Julio Jones gets put on by like Trey Waynes or Marcus Sherrills or something like that. Offenses are just too creative. You can't quite just put a guy in an island anymore. At least that's just not the way the NFL is currently playing. Also, it's a lot of zone stuff, which benefits if you can't necessarily cover. So that also helps.
Right. Well, and that's if you have, peak Darrelle Revis,
right,
then that guy chases, right?
Right.
If you have what's the Packer guy who's not a Packer anymore? Yeah, like you got
Jalen Ramsey. If you have Pat Surtain,
yeah, then sure, yeah, then you just you box in one, for lack of a better term, with that guy. I get it. The Vikings don't have that guy. Most NFL defenses, to be fair, don't have that guy. But no, you're exactly right. There's only two things about this Vikings team, and it's the same two things that they were last year. Is the quarterback going to be able to do it, and is the defensive backfield going to be able to hold up?
Mm-hmm. And one other thing I think is the offensive line, because I think that the Vikings did everything right. Like they got Will Fries, who is good, but he's also coming off like a super bad fracture of his leg that he's got to recover from. And him and Darisaw came off of bad injuries last year. Now, both of them are not on the PUP list. They are not on the physically enabled to perform. They will be there. That is good. But also, that Darisaw's come back from an ACL, which isn't easy. You also have a center or a guard that you just signed that's coming off a pretty rough injury. It's just going to take him a while to get there. Yeah. And also you have a center who is with the first year with the team and his first year with the quarterback who's in his first full year as the starting quarterback. And then you have a rookie guard in there. The talent is way higher than it was last year. The high end value is way higher. But there is something to be said about offensive line consistency. It's why Garrett Bradbury stuck around, was just like, he knows the offense, he's a situated, whatever. I'm not saying the Vikings should have gotten rid of Bradbury, but what I'm saying is it's probably going to take a little longer than we think for this offensive line to reach its full potential. And I think and what if Donovan Jackson can't do it? Like there's the Vikings first round draft pick. There's just a couple things where it's like, this is a really good unit on paper. The high end talent is through the roof, but how long is it going to take for this to fully come together? You know what I mean?
So the only counterpoint I have, and you're right, is the difference between that conversation and what we just had about the defensive backfield is that the offensive line is talented. So is it going to be hard for 300 plus pound guys to come back from leg injuries? Potentially. Yeah. I totally and completely, that is a tough thing to come back from, even if you are a normal human, let alone 320 pounds. That's absolutely true. But talent does win, and talent does like maybe it's weird till the bye week, but then it's fine. You know what I mean? Like there's just, or maybe it's not, I don't know, but it's not going to be because they're not talented. If it blows up in the defensive backfield, it's because they're not talented. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. There, kicking game, Will Riker was weird towards the middle to end of last year. Is he kind of now getting fully healthy? Is he just going to be okay? There's the punter is, there's a few things that once you get into the nitty gritty of training camp, but I think overall, I'm really excited to see, and then we'll be done on this. I'm really excited. Like we know the offense, we know their capabilities. I'm really excited to see the defense. It was better last year, much better. And it's much better than that roster-wise last year. We saw Brian Flores his first year in Minnesota, again, just do a lot with almost nothing. And at least get them, they weren't great, but they at least weren't 32 like they were in 22. They were like 20th. And now this year's defense was like 12 to top 8 to top 12. Now that it's even just a little better, just a little deeper, like, can Brian Flores get this to be a consistent top 5 defense all season long? Because if you pair that with the offense, this team's going to win a lot of games, like a lot of games.
I also I'm just a huge homer.
Mm-hmm.
So like a part of me really looks forward to like Caleb not being good.
Yes.
For Chicago. And for the Packers to once again just kind of waffle in purgatory of not quite good, but not bad either. Like another year of what is Jordan Love actually. I look forward to like Detroit getting kicked in the nuts a couple times, because that just what happens to teams that lose an NFC championship game, right? Did they lose or did they
lost in the divisional round of Jaden Daniels?
There we go. So like there's just a weird there's opportunities here, and I think people believe a lot in everything else around the Vikings, but they kind of slip under the radar because everyone knows that it's this rookie quarterback that is unproven. I am secretly hopeful, and not like unabashedly this team is going to win the division. Because I don't necessarily believe that. I just think like they could be really good. They could be a really nice team. It's going to be fun to watch this play out, and it might not be right away. By the end, this Vikings team might really be clicking. Wouldn't that be cool?
Skull. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. It's here. Training camp is here. We got a full week of going, oh, it's cool to see them back in action. And then a week later go, oh yeah, there's still like 5 weeks until I actually have to care. Okay, I'll check in with you guys later. Nobody die on the field, please.
Please.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.